The International Seapower Symposia are a series of biennial meetings of the world's chiefs of navy that has met at the United States Naval War College since 1969. The proceedings of these symposia since ISS XVI in 2003 are published on the Internet History, with the objective of promoting mutual understanding among the several leaders of the world's maritime nations. The first International Seapower Symposium was convened at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island on 17 to 20 November 1969. This four-day symposium was conceived by the president of the Naval War College, Vice Admiral Richard G. Colbert, U.S. Navy, who served as host for the ISSI. The Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Thomas H. Maurer, addressed the meeting. As a result of the success of this symposium, plans were made to continue these discussions as a biennial event. All International Seapower Symposia since have been conducted at the Naval War College, and hosted by the incumbent Chief of Naval Operations with only two exceptions. Early fall dates have been selected to take advantage of both the normally good weather and also the relaxed atmosphere in Newport. The second International Seapower Symposium was held on 1 to 5 November 1971 and attended by 67 delegates representing 41 nations. This symposium served to further its original objective by developing, in the words of its host, Admiral Elmo R. Zumwalt, Jr., a sense of unity through the sharing of common problems. The Third International Seapower Symposium met from 15 to 19 October 1973 with Admiral Elmo R. Zumwalt, Jr. again serving as host. In a departure from the traditional discussion of strategy and military force, the symposium examined, in some depth, the non-military uses of naval forces in the maritime world. 54 delegates represented 38 nations. The Fourth International Seapower Symposium was held 6 to 9 July 1976 and hosted by Admiral James L. Holloway. 3 delegations represented 48 nations. The theme for the symposium was the role of navies in the 1980s. The Fifth International Seapower Symposium was held on 2 to 5 October 1979. Delegations representing 49 nations attended ISSV, one more than the previous record. Admiral Thomas B. Hayward was host for ISSV, which was titled The Role of Navies in a World of Peace. The Sixth International Seapower Symposium was conducted from the 28th of June through the 1st of July 1981. 48 nations took part in ISSV discussing topics pointed at the overall theme, World Navies in the 1980s. The Seventh International Seapower Symposium was held between 7 to 10 November 1983. Admiral James D. Watkins hosted ISS VII with its theme, Emerging Naval Roles to the Year 2000. The Eighth International Seapower Symposium, also hosted by Admiral James D. Watkins, was held from 20 to 23 October 1985. The theme for ISS VIII was Maritime Security Planning, Traditional versus Non-Traditional Views. 46 nations attended. The Ninth International Seapower Symposium was held on 25 to 28 October 1987 with Admiral Carlisle A. H. Trost as its host. The theme for ISSIX was Maritime Power in an Era of Low-Intensity Conflict. 54 nations attended. Agreement was reached to establish the Western Pacific Naval Symposium. Admiral Carlisle A.H. Trust once again served as host for the International Seapower Symposium. This, the 10th in the series, was held from 22 to 25 October 1989 in Newport, Rhode Island. The theme, Meeting Commitments in an Era of Fiscal Constraint, was discussed to great length by the 41 nations in attendance. Admiral Frank B. Kelso II hosted the 11th International Symposium from 6 to 9 October 1991. The theme for ISS XII was Emerging Cooperative Maritime Roles in a Changing World Environment. 57 nations were represented. The 12th International Seapower Symposium was hosted, again, by Admiral Frank B. Kelso II from 7 to 10 November 1993. The theme for ISS XII was Maritime Coalitions and International Security. 130 delegates representing 71 nations were in attendance. The 13th International Seapower Symposium was held at the Naval War College from 5 to 8 November 1995. Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Jeremy Borda, was the host for this year's symposium, which was titled Partnership for the Sea. There were 132 delegates from 67 nations taking part in this four-day event. 73 nations were in attendance for the 14th International Seapower Symposium, hosted by Admiral J.L. Johnson, on 2 to 5 November 1997. The theme for ISS XIV was Seapower and Common Security in the 21st Century. Maritime Strategies for a Naval Century was the title for the 15th International Seapower Symposium. Admiral J. Johnson hosted the event from 7 to 10 November 1999 in Newport, Rhode Island. 152 delegates representing 70 nations were in attendance. The 16th International Seapower Symposium held at the Naval War College, Newport, Rhode Island, 26 to 29 October 2003. 56 CNO counterparts attended the symposium with an overall number of 203 delegates representing 69 nations in attendance. This theme was Seapower for Peace, Prosperity and Security. The theme for the 17th International Seapower Symposium was A Global Network of Nations for a Free and Secure Maritime Commons. ISS XVII held at the Naval War College, Newport, Rhode Island, from 20 to 23 September 2005 was hosted by Chief of Naval Operations ADM Mike Mullen, USN. Attendees included 55 CNO counterparts, with the overall number of 137 delegates from 70 nations, and 43 naval attaches. The theme for the 18th International Seapower Symposium was Forging Cooperative Solutions for International Maritime Security. ISS XVIII held at the Naval War College, Newport, Rhode Island, from 16 to 19 October 2007 was hosted by Chief of Naval Operations ADM Gary Roughhead, USN. Attendees included 69 CNO counterparts, 21 commandants of Coast Guards and 16 War College presidents. Over 100 nations were represented, and it was here that the U.S. Navy announced the new maritime strategy, moving the focus from sea combat to a broader base that incorporated the prevention of combat. The 19th International Seapower Symposium, held 7 to 9 October 2009, had for its theme, Connecting Navies, Building Partnership. Chief of Naval Operations Gary Roughhead and Secretary of the Navy Ray Mabus opened the symposium. Security and Prosperity Through Maritime Partnerships was the theme for the 20th symposium, hosted by CNO ADM Jonathan Greenett, USN. On 18 to 21 October 2011, the 21st Symposium, held 16 to 19 September 2014, was hosted by the Secretary of the Navy, Ray Mabus, and the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Jonathan Greenett, USN. The theme was Global Solutions to Common Maritime Challenges.